right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the ASAP Afternoon Blitz, Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. Been a busy week in sports, and it's getting ready to get busier as we have football all weekend.
Yes, we do.
Don't have hardly any college football going on, but you got three NFL games on Saturday, a full slate on Sunday. It's gonna be should be a great weekend of sports. Joined today by Jay McLovin. How's it going, Jay?
Yeah, like you said, man, it's going great. I don't know how it's not going great. Let's see, today's Wednesday. That means I get Thursday, Saturday, Sunday of football. I got Friday to repent. I mean, what a best time to be alive, right? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't realize the football was on Saturday this week until Sunday. I was laying there watching football, and it said Super Saturday. I was like, oh, okay. The Colts play on Saturday, which I won't get to watch a whole lot of it. I'll be on the road to Indianapolis to get ready for a wrestling show. We got 2 shows this weekend, so it's going to be a busy weekend.
You're gonna be a busy man. That's okay. You get that phone to the right of you. You can keep tapping them scores. Not a big deal. It's all good.
Oh yeah.
Who are you playing this week?
What'd you say?
Who you guys playing this week?
The Minnesota Vikings.
Oh snap! Ooh, what if you play spoiler? Hey, it can happen. Hey, look. Hey, you see that Texas almost beat the Cowboys. I mean, Panthers beat the Panthers beat the Vikings, didn't they?
I think so.
If I'm not mistaken, last week, right?
Yeah. Hey, Colts beat the Chiefs this year.
Oh, correction, it was the Lions that beat the Vikings. I apologize.
Yeah, Lions beat the Vikings. Yeah, but the Colts beat the Chiefs.
Panthers beat the Seahawks.
Yeah. Colts beat the Chiefs. We've also lost to Philadelphia by 1. So I mean, you never know.
Hey, listen. Any given Sunday, man. Hey, you don't know in this league about what's gonna happen. I got to be honest with you, guys. I don't know how you feel about this football season, but I know when we were looking at last season and we were getting ready to go into the playoffs, it was pretty solidified. You know, the top teams weren't losing to the lower seeded teams. I mean, it was very cut and dry, very, very cookie cutter season. You can predict just about every win, for the most part. This season, it's just all over the place. Like, you can't predict crap. Well, just look right now what's going on in the 7th wild card spot. You got 3 teams vying to get in on either side, and all of them have legit gripes, and all of them have legit losses and legit wins. So there's no real way of knowing or predicting who's going to win the Super Bowl, because quite honestly, there are reports out there that a lot of people, even though the Eagles are ranked number 1 and they had the best record and their power rankings is number 1, there's a lot of people out there that have serious doubts as to whether or not the Eagles are even really going to be in the Super Bowl. You even ask a couple people at ASAP, and they'll tell you, I think you're one of them, that was saying 49ers, Cowboys, or I don't know if you were saying 49ers. You don't know. There was actually that. So, I mean –
I told you a month ago that I thought the 49ers and the Cowboys were the best teams in the NFC. But then the Cowboys barely beat the Texans, and you see,
well, that's what I'm saying. and I think that's it. And I think honestly, that's what excites me about this year, is because you just really don't know, and you're not going to know until you get into the playoffs. We're not going to know anything until we get into the playoffs and start letting things just kind of unfold themselves. But I think that's the mystery. I think the mystery of how these playoffs are going to unfold, is going to be something. Now, obviously, you still have your standard teams, right? You do still have the Eagles, you still have the Chiefs, you still have the Bills, whatever. But even with those standard teams, any one of those teams can be beat, right? Yeah, and Purdy, for the love of God, where the hell did this kid come from?
That's the thing. There's a lot more parity in the NFL now, and I agree with you. I think it makes the NFL better, more exciting, because used to you'd wait for a matchup. It said, oh, it's the Patriots and the Jets, and you're like, oh, that game ain't gonna be no good. Jets are terrible. It ain't like that no more. It's almost like you said earlier. Any team can beat any team. The margin of error or the margin of how much better a team is than other teams has gotten slimmer. And
even it's even crazy enough that You get a guy like Baker who, struggled as he was leaving out of the door in Cleveland when he went to Carolina. Then he gets over to the Rams, and now he looks, born again. Now that gives the Rams new questions, not for this season, clearly, because this season is over for them, but it gives them new hope or new questions going into 2023. And what is it going to look like for them when Stafford comes back and you got Stafford and Baker as your 1-2 punch at the quarterback position, and then you get Cooper Kupp back and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of things coming at the end of this season that are going to make 2023 look interesting. For example, Russell Wilson, concussed. What's he going to look like going into next season? Hackett. Well, Hackett even be back next season.
That was
Cliff
something
Kingsbury. I mean,
that was
wow.
something we hadn't talked about. But that hit that Russell Wilson took to get concussed, that was nasty. He went head first into the turf.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah. And now we got Devontae Parker, another guy concussed, talking about, hey, why did it take Aguilar to get me out of the game when you see clearly I'm wobbling, I don't look right? Why weren't these referees doing their damn job? Because we just had the same damn thing with Tua.
Well, it's not as much the referees as it is the spotters, the people.
I mean, spotters, refs, whatever. I mean,
the reason I'm saying not the refs, because the refs have so much going on. You have people, the spotters, that's their one job.
Right.
They have one job is to watch for hits and people that look concussed.
Well, that's my point. I mean, if you want to say spotter or ref, I mean, I really don't get it. It also falls under the NFL.
Basically the referees that are off the field or whatever. You
know
what I mean?
And again, this is an NFL problem, right? And I think that's what Aguilar was saying. And I think that's what Devontae Parker was saying. Is like, look, guys, the NFL, what are we doing, man? Clearly I'm out of my damn mind. I don't look right. I mean, it's crazy. But again, I mean, lots of things are going on this season. Lots of things, man. I mean, hell, go look over there now. Kyler Murray, 2 steps, he's done for this season. Now, what does life look like for the Cardinals? And then, hey, I don't care what anybody says, man. But hey, D-Hop cost him that game last week. When he gave up that little fumble, yeah.
Yeah, D-Hop fumble. Well, I don't know what he was doing. He was holding the ball way out here. It's like, what are you?
Well, it looked like he was out here. Then he was trying to change hands, and the next thing you know, the damn ball is like 30 feet away from him, and it's life was done after that. But it just seems to me it's crazy that you have so many moving parts, so many teams that are going into 2023 with questions. I mean, Cardinals clearly got questions all over the place. So do the Denver Broncos. So do the Rams, because you don't know really 100% of what that team's going to look like next year. So do the Raiders, because the Raiders will show you flashes of brilliance, and then they'll show you flashes of the fuck are we talking about?
Well, speaking of the Cardinals, do you think Kyler Murray plays another snap for the Cardinals?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, so? It will. It just won't be in 2023. And if it is in 2023, which I'd be extremely surprised if it was, it would be probably come playoff time or close to playoff time next year. But yeah, they got so much money in him. They're not going to move on from Kyler. They're not moving on from him. Now, Kingsbury, that might be a different issue.
You see, they messed up with both of them because you signed both of them to an extension when you didn't have to. Right. Yeah, Kyler saying he wanted the contract, but you didn't have to do it yet. You could have done like all these other teams do. Wait till it gets to their last year, or you can franchise. You didn't have to give him to it early. Now you gave him an extension early. Now he's out for at least a year, maybe a year and a half.
Oh, I give him a solid 12. I give him a good solid 12 months of rehab before we see Kyler back.
So he's basically gonna miss about a full season by the time he misses these games.
And then really, do you even bring him back? Yeah, and then do you even really bring him back at that point? Because probably most likely without Kyler Murray, you're not even in the playoffs anyway. So why would you even bring him back at the tail end when you could bring him at the beginning?
And then you've done the same thing with your coach. You extended him at the same time you extended the quarterback, which makes no sense. Yes, you were in the playoffs. I understand they were in the playoffs last year. They got beat first round, but this year they looked worse. I know they They've had some injuries. D-Hop was out for that suspension. But to me, and I said this when it happened, if you have to put a clause in a contract to make sure a guy is doing his job, you probably
shouldn't right off the rip.
You probably shouldn't give the guy $190 million guaranteed. I mean, if you have to put that in his contract, you're giving the money to the wrong guy.
And I totally agree. I totally agree with what you're saying.
So I think they're in a mess because what you do, you got to bring in somebody now. You're going to bring in somebody to play next season. What if that person starts playing real good and the team, say they bring Baker in? I don't know if that's going to happen. Say they bring Baker Mayfield in. Baker plays good for the Cardinals. Then now what do you do? Are you going to stay with Baker, the cheaper option, or are you going to go back to Murray? You know what I mean? Or are you going to try to trade Murray? And here's the other thing: is Murray going to be the same guy? A lot of his game is relying on scrambling and running around. And when you have a bad injury like that on your leg, a lot of times you're not the same guy. And if you are the same, a lot of times it takes close to a couple of years.
Oh, absolutely.
You get back to the old self. So he might not even look the same when he gets back out there and plays. And his legs are the most important part of his game with him being so small. Don't get me wrong. He can sling the ball, but he has to get out of the pocket and be able to move. He's not a guy that can just be stationary and just stand back there and pick you apart because, for one, it's hard for him to see.
Yeah, and also I really believe that, I think the Cardinals organization has seen enough from Cliff Kingsbury to know whether or not they want to bring him back next season or let him go. Because quite honestly, I don't think you have to wait for Kyler Murray to come back at the end of 23 to know whether or not Cliff Kingsbury is your coach. I think you have enough evidence over the last 3 seasons to know if Cliff Kingsbury is your guy or not your guy. And quite honestly, I don't think he's the right guy. I think the Cardinals have the wrong guy at the helm.
Yeah, I didn't think he was the guy when they hired him, and I still don't think he's the right guy.
Well, you know what they say, Gonzo? Some people are just meant to be in college because Cliff was good in college. Put Cliff back at Cliff.
Well, here's the thing, Jay. We say he was good in college, but before he had just got fired from a college for being a head coach in college.
Yeah, but he still had good success with Texas Tech, man. Honestly, he could find Texas Tech,
but then he got hired as the offensive coordinator at USC, but then he left there after like a day. That was crazy.
Yeah, honestly, after once Cliff Kingsbury left Texas Tech, it never really bode well for him. And I just think that, I think he needs to go back. I think he needs to reinvigorate or reconfigure himself, whether it be a small university, maybe like a UAF or, a smaller school or whatever, and then just kind of rebuild your way back up. Or if there's a school out there that, wants to take a chance on you, then I think you go that route. Maybe even like an A&M. Because I'll tell you right now, Jimbo Fisher, you suck. And I wish that A&M would let you go. Yes, you beat Bama. I'm not going to take that away from you. But you suck. You suck big doo-doo. And I would be more than happy if Cliff Kingsbury even gave him a shot there and see if he can reinvigorate that offense. Time to be alive, man. I'm just saying. Questions. Rams, Packers, Gonzo, man. Honestly, it's interesting to me because we start off this week with a badass game on Thursday with the Niners and Seahawks, baby. That's going to be a great Thursday night game. Let's just be honest. And then if you look over the Saturday, we get Dolphins, Bills. Oh, my Lanta. And then you can look at the Ravens, Browns, Vikings, Colts. But unless the Colts just stun the Vikes, I think those might be 2 lesser games. But definitely the Dolphins, Bills game on Saturday. And then Sunday's just chock full of stuff. And then you come in and you end the week on Monday with Baker going against Aaron Rodgers. God, what a time to be alive. Jesus. I got to be honest with you, I'm really rooting for Baker. I want Baker to succeed. I want Baker to, finally, get his ground and find a team and solidify himself. And I just think the more the reps he's going to get, especially going against these Packers, showing what he can do, I mean, it's going to be well for him.
I think the best case for Baker is you need to play well these last 3-4 games. You play well these last 3-4 games, even if you don't I mean, even if Stafford comes back and the Rams decide to stay with Stafford, which is probably going to happen, if you play good these next games, that gives you some options. For one, the Rams might keep you as a backup, or for two, if you play good, there might be a team out there that wants to bring you in for next season.
Gonzo, did you say next year he could be in a quarterback controversy, possibly with Matt Stafford? Could that be a possibility? How much? I understand, because the first thing people are going to say is, well, you got so much damn money tied into Stafford. Okay, maybe that is the truth. So maybe let him go. All I know is this. His last 4 games was Green Bay, Denver, Chargers, and Seattle. And if he wins out with that right there, you got to look at him. Somebody's got to look at this guy and be like, okay, let's relook at Baker, because I think Baker's doing something.
That's what I'm saying. Even if you don't get to stay with the Rams, I think then he would have a chance of getting on another team, another team in the league might take a chance.
I'm going to look at him and bring him back. How do you not? Because really, who is he throwing the ball to? Skronik, Van Jefferson, Tutu, some other dude, I think Higbee. I mean, and then you got what? I guess you got Akers in your backfield, but I mean, who you really throwing the ball? It's not like you got these plethora of great receivers. Hell, if he does that good with what he's throwing there, why wouldn't the damn Colts look at him? You ain't got a true number one, and if he can do that with Van Jefferson and Skronik, why could he do it with Michael Pittman and company? That might be something to look at.
Yep. Hey, good afternoon, Billy.
Billy Ray. Go Cowboys. That's right. Go Cowboys. Jesus.
I can't believe
who the Cowboys got this week? I don't think we have anybody hard. I think we got a pretty easy game this week. I didn't actually
wait. That's what you guys would have thought last week, and it wasn't an easy game.
Hey, last week we were just chilling. Last week we weren't taking it serious. Let's just be honest. I'm not going to take nothing away from them, though. They did good. I mean, whatever. Texans get the Chiefs. That'll be an easy win for the Chiefs. And then the Dallas Cowboys. I still don't see them on here. Where the heck are they playing? We got the Jaguars. I don't like that, because now we get to see what Trevor Lawrence brings to town. And look, people overlook at Trevor. Hey, people overlook at Trevor Lawrence. Hey, this little Jag squad, you can't look past these guys. Got a question. I don't really follow Baker Mayfield, but why is everyone down on him? It's not that we're down on him. It's just I don't know if you ever played football. You know how just to learn a damn NFL playbook in less than 48 hours. And then all that 48 hours, there's other things going on than just looking at a playbook. You got to get chemistry. You got to get audibles. You got to know people's tendencies, where they want the ball, how they like the ball. There's a lot of things. Then you got a game plan against other. The fact that he got that win, it's not that we're like on. Oh, I guess he's saying down. Does that mean like bad? Like people don't like Baker? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I know I misread what he's saying, but either way, I don't know why they're down on Baker. I think what the guy did was pretty damn good, honestly.
I think a lot of it is the way Cleveland done them. They made him kind of look bad. The way Cleveland done what they done.
And let's be honest, Carolina didn't help him being out and giving me favors.
And people forget that the Browns were dog shit. I mean, they were terrible before Baker Mayfield got there. They were lucky if they would win in one game. And he got him. He got in there. They got competitive, got to the playoffs. Then he got hurt. Played his season hurt. Yeah, he struggled that season. But instead of sticking with their guy, we're getting rid of you. We're going to bring a guy that's going to get suspended for 12 games. So I think that's why a lot of people are down on him. Then he went to Carolina, and of course he didn't look good. It didn't work at all. So I think that's kind of why a lot of people are down on him right now. But he got a lot of people back on his side with the way he played last Thursday. Like you said, with less than 48 hours, with less than being with the team 48 hours. Hell, he was throwing the ball to guys he didn't even know their names, probably.
Well, let's be honest. Hey, Gonzo.
Hey, 83. Good job.
Gonzo, when the game ended, you don't know crap when you need a PR guy to tell you where the damn locker room is. Come on. If you don't even know where your damn locker room is, how are you going to know their names? Time to be alive. Hey, excuse me, sir. I know you're probably the garbage guy, but just point me in the direction of the locker room. I'd really appreciate it. What a time to be alive, man. Damn. Oh, man. Wow. Patriots get the Raiders. God, what would be the chances of the Raiders just beating the crap out of the Patriots? Could that happen, Gonzo? Because I would just like to see Frankie with this sad look on his face.
It could, and the Raiders have been playing good football the last 3 or 4 weeks.
I don't ask for much, Gonzo. I just ask for every now and then, give me a Patriots loss, especially when they're fighting for the 7th spot. I don't ask for much, though. God. Let me ask you a question. Hey, I think a big game over the week, honestly, especially with Giants, Commanders, and Seahawks all trying to vie for that number 7 spot. And then we get the Giants and Commanders this week. Who do you have with it?
Oh man, I think it's going to be another real good game. 2 weeks ago they tied. I'm gonna go with Washington and get the win. I like the way Washington's been playing. They won like 6 of their last 7 games. The Giants have lost like 3 in a row now, if I remember correctly.
I can give it more accurate, but I believe it is 3 in a row.
I think the Washington. I like what Heineke's doing over there. A little bit more than Jones. Jones just don't have a lot of weapons to throw the ball to. Washington still has some weapons with McKissick on at running back, and then McLaurin out there at the wide receiver. So I like Washington in this game, but I think it's going to be another barn burner like they had last time, and who knows? They could tie again.
Yeah, because right now.
Wouldn't it be crazy if the same 2 teams played each other twice and tied both times?
Man, and who's to say that couldn't happen? I mean, those teams, and that just kind of shows they're evenly matched. I mean, honestly. But yeah, so the last 4 games, Detroit was a loss, Dallas was a loss, Washington was a tie, and then Philly was a loss. So yeah. Really, I look as a tie as a loss, and then it didn't whatever. But yeah, they've just been shit their last 4 to 5 games. Well, 4 games at least.
Pats fans can't stand Matt Patricia. This man is really calling the plays. Yeah, old Bill Belichick has a mess over there with that situation going on.
I like what he's saying there. I think the Lions do beat the Jets this week. I do. I absolutely think that's going to happen.
Lions are another team that's won like 5 or 6 of their last 6 or 7 games, kind of like the Commanders. So I mean, yeah, the Lions. The biggest thing with the Lions is their defense. If their defense can hold up, they can score points. Jared Goff has been playing well. They've gotten healthy. That was part of their problem when they started losing. Was they had so many injuries. To most of their playmakers. Now they're healthier, and yeah, there's a chance they can sneak into the playoffs.
I would predict come Tuesday next week that the number 6 spot will belong to the New York Giants, and the number 7 spot will belong to the Detroit Lions. And I have Washington, and I have. No, it won't be that way. Damn it. Because right now, Washington is 7-5. New York is 7-5. New York and Washington will play each other. So somebody's going to 8-5 and somebody's going to 7-6. So I do think I was right initially. If the Giants win, they will move up to number 6. Washington will then slide down to 7-6, which would then put them in a tie. Well, if Seattle wins, they go to 8-6, and then they would slide up into the 7th spot. If they lose, they go to 7-7. I still think Washington is going to keep it. Wins tiebreak over New York Giants based on best win percentage. Yeah, so if you got 2 7-5s, the best the Seattle can do is 8-6. Yeah, Seattle would move up. So whoever loses out of the Washington and the New York Giants would slide out. New York Giants or the Redskins would move up. Whoever wins that will move up to 6. And then if Seattle wins, that would put them at 8-6 as well. And then they would just be up in the 7th spot. However, if they lose, which I think they will because they're going against the 49ers, that puts them at 7-7. Detroit, if they win, puts them at 7-7. So if Seattle wins, then I think they move up into that 7th spot. If they lose, then I think Washington and the New York Giants just stay where they are. Maybe, they'll switch spots. Maybe New York will go to 6. Washington will slide down to 7. But if Seattle wins and Washington or the Giants lose, whichever one loses, they'll just switch spots. So, and then, of course, Detroit would then go to 7-7, but then they would be right there at, knocking on the door. And if the Lions win out or Lions win another one, I mean, very well, it could be the Lions switching in there. But best case scenario would be that either the Giants or Washington would slide out of the top 7. If Seattle beats the Niners, then they'll move into the top 7. And then either Washington or New York would be looking at the outskirts with Detroit, trying to get into that 7th spot as well. What a time to be alive. Jeez Louise, man. So many movement pieces, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I just wonder what Detroit's final 4 games look like to see what they're facing. And it looks like they're facing the Jets, Carolina, Chicago, and Green Bay. I think there's a good possibility. Worst case scenario is they go 3 for 4. And best case scenario is they win 4 out of 4.
Who?
What?
What team were you talking about?
No, I was just saying that. So the best case scenario is that Lions would go 3 out of 4. Worst case scenario, they go 3 out of 4. Best case scenario, they go 4 out of 4. Because the next 4 teams they play is the Jets, Carolina, Chicago, and Green Bay. So I think there's a good possibility that they could win out. But I think worst case scenario is maybe they drop 1 game. Because, Carolina can kind of be that sneaker team sometimes. Yeah, I saw them shorts. Is that even shorts? It looks like, what do you got on there, Mike Hughes? What you wearing, your underwear? Is that underwear and a T-shirt? What kind of weirdo are you?
No, these are my shorts.
Oh, okay. I don't need to see your stomach, you crazy weirdo. Mike, what's up, baby? How you doing?
Nothing. I just woke up, so yeah.
Hey, I like a man that sleeps in a Cubs hat. It's amazing.
Yes, sir. I do it quite often.
Or did you wake up and say, you know what? I got hat hair, but I got to get on this show. So I'm going to throw a little cap on and we're going to call it good.
I do got a little hat hair. I ain't going to lie to you.
Oh, by the way, don't get mad at me. Your mom might have already told you. I sent your mom a Facebook friend request. Don't get mad at me.
That's crazy. Honestly, we don't really, we cool, but, we don't really talk like that. Like, she probably just.
How old is your mom?
She's 60.
She's 60?
Yeah.
Man, well, tell your mama she looked good for 60.
Yeah,
no, for real. I'm not trying to be weird, but really, she looks beautiful for 60 years old. She hides it well because I really thought she was closer to my age.
What the fuck is this, man? We talk about Mike's mama, man. That's crazy. Nah,
I don't know, man. Hey, listen, if I take you on a date, I promise you can call me Jay. You can call me dad or stepdad. You can still call me Jay. It's okay. You can still whoop my ass up and down the street. I'll let you. It's all good.
That's crazy.
How messed up would that be if you went over to your mom's house and Jay was you opened the door and Jay's standing there?
I've already explained, but I'm a man of peace, so I can't tell y'all what I told her. But we've had that conversation before, not with her, but like my siblings. They're like, "Oh, mom needs to get back out there," And I was like, "Hey, just know."
Hey.
I was like, whoever she brings over, like, they finna see it, they finna feel it. So I'm just
Hey,
saying.
you got to. Hey, listen, you got to take care of her.
Hell no. She could take her ass to the crib. Stay her ass in the crib. You know why? Because just because he's gone, I don't forget Pops. So that's my loyalty.
Hey, I got a good loyalty, but at the end of the day, though, man, mama still got to move on with her life, man.
Nah, hell no. Fuck that. You can move
on
at home. You can move on at home.
Baby in a corner.
You
can't put baby in a corner, okay?
Yes, I damn can. Yes, the fuck I can. I can and I will.
Oh man, hey, I'm gonna take you on Karamo. You know that new show called Karamo? I'm gonna take you on Karamo. We gotta have a discussion about this. It's gonna be me, Mike Hughes, and Mike Hughes' mom, and we're gonna have a discussion.
I hope they allow guns on Karamo because I ain't going. No, sir. Not fucking around. No, sir.
Yeah.
Nah,
man, what a time, man. What do you think about this Lions, man? I think they got a shot at grabbing the number 7 spot, Mike. I do, man. I look at their schedule. I think it's very viable that they can slide up in there, man. What are you thinking about it? How you viewing it?
I told y'all from the jump I like the Lions. I always did like the Lions. I thought they have a really high-powered offense. I don't understand what happened with TJ Hawkinson. That one to me was like a what the fuck, because I felt like, especially to the Vikings, I felt like, TJ Hawkinson was great for what he was. I just maybe the chemistry wasn't there with Jared Goff or something along those lines, getting paid, whatever it may have been. There might have been a disagreement, a guy in the draft they want to get. But I think even that, you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, you look at obviously Williams, who's coming out from Alabama. I mean, that kid is an obvious stud. And it was one of those guys who was one of the best wide receivers coming out of his class. And no one really just talked about it. One, because he went to the Lions, and two, because he had a torn ACL on draft day. So there's a lot that goes into that. I'm happy for Jared Goff. I mean, I'm not a Jared Goff fan. But I mean, I'm happy he finally kind of found that home. Me personally, I still think if they have like a top 5 pick, thanks to the Rams, I'd still go quarterback. That's me.
And if you were going to go quarterback, who are you looking at?
Depends what happens, because they're sitting at 3 to 5. So I mean, if Bryce and CJ are gone, then I wouldn't go quarterback. I really wouldn't. But I mean, if it's possible in the second round, I would go out of Tennessee. Because obviously another ACL guy. He's probably going to drop in his draft stock, but Hooker looks nice. Hooker's in Detroit. It's a common thing. So I mean, I think he'd fit in well. And y'all didn't like that. Y'all didn't think that was funny. Y'all didn't. Hooker's in Detroit.
Hey, I like the.
I thought it was funny as fuck. Anyways, no, but I think they're great. I think they're going to be solid. I think this is a test, though. I think if they don't make the playoffs, that's a Dan Campbell hot seat. So that's definitely something. Like right now, you have the roster to be able to at least make it, especially with the extension of playoffs. I think it'll be fun, though. I'm happy for the Lions.
Yeah, I agree with you, though. I mean, I think and again, hey, look, I still think people are overlooking Max Duggan, man. I think if he falls, I think he goes second round. I think if he's in the second round and you have an opportunity to grab him, why wouldn't you grab him and see what you can make out of him? Because I mean, the guy's got heart, man. Like he's got lion heart, man, and he can play. And I don't know why people wouldn't take a flyer on him in the second round. You know what I mean?
My bad. I had to look up who Max Duggan was, but yeah,
TCU quarterback. He's the one that literally put the game on their back and willed them damn near.
Oh, he's the kid from TCU. Okay.
Yeah.
I've watched him. I'm not even bullshitting. I have watched him. I didn't know his name.
But he's just a beast, man. That guy, he don't care, man. Hey, there was one point when he got to the end zone after getting that game, well, not game-winning drive, but the overtime drive, what would have been the overtime drive? He get him all the way, runs it in, sitting there. You could just see him could not breathe, couldn't do shit. And then they got to go do a 2-point conversion. He puts a damn 2-point conversion in on their asses. And then he goes over there and you can just see him breathing in the oxygen. And they're like, what the hell, man? What the hell? What are you doing?
He was spent. He was gassed.
And then you look at his arm. Hey, you look at his arms, and his arms are all serrated. Like they're all bloodied up. Look like he's been through war.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think if he's around that second round, I'm taking a flyer. If I'm a coach, I'm definitely going to take a flyer.
100%.
Would you take?
I think you're right, man. I think if CJ and Young are gone before they come to Detroit, I think you're looking at, okay, what are my other key positional needs? And if there's not a key positional need that I need, I might even look to draft down, trade down, get some more picks, and then maybe get the person I need. If you're going to go offensive lineman, because that'll be later on in the draft. They'll still be there too. So I don't even know if you even have to stay in the top 5 if the guy you think isn't there that you really want.
I mean, they got a few generational defensive tackles in this draft as well. So, I mean, they can't stop the run to save their life right now. So, I think that would be great for Aiden Hutchinson and Rodrigo and everybody else they got going on over there. So, I mean, their secondary is all right. It's not great. It's all right. But it's definitely something I think they're gonna go defense. I think that's the obvious statement. Even if Bryce Young and CJ are available, I did hear a report from them saying that Jared Goff is their guy. But I've heard a lot of teams say that before and then immediately move on. So I don't really hold too much stock into any of it. I believe if one of these guys are available, you probably go with them. Yeah, I mean, we'll see Jared Goff in a Colts uniform for Gonzo pretty soon anyway, so we'll see what happens.
Oh Lord.
Well, they love the whitewashed quarterbacks. That's just what it is.
Jesus. I think he's had enough former NFL QBs. I think he's ready for the draft.
I think Gonzo is actually the one that's ready to suit up, and he's just ready to take it over his damn self.
Can't do
much.
But
I think you're right, though. I think there will be a couple of key defensive either edge rushers or tackles that they could draft in that 5 spot.
I think the Lions do. I think the Lions do probably go defense because, like Mike said, that run defense has been their Achilles heel all season. I mean, if they could stop the run, they probably have 2 or 3 more wins already this season because they blew some games that they were right in.
Yeah. That's how the Bears stayed in with them. I mean, I think the Lions beat us. I think so. I don't give a fuck. But Justin Fields was the big factor into that because they just couldn't stop the run, and that's just what it was. Like we barely even threw the damn ball, and that's one of the biggest things to me. Someone said the Colts need another Peyton Manning clone. I guess why? So they could trade him away for a guy that's gonna play just a few years. But hey, sorry, Gonzo, what happened?
Maybe you look at Will. What would it look like if Detroit brought in Will Anderson, that edge rusher from Bama? And him up. Yeah, he'd be there probably in that top 5.
I think the way I'm looking at it, the way the draft is right now, I think it's Texans, Seattle, and the Bears. If I looked at it for what it was, and I was like, if I'm the Chicago Bears, you just got rid of Khalil Mack and the entire defense, I'd re-up with Will Anderson. I don't think he'll be there past 3. I think either Lovie Smith takes him at 1 because Lovie Smith's an idiot, or I think Seattle is an interesting one too, though, because you look how Geno Smith has been playing. Is Geno Smith the future of your franchise? I have no idea. Like that's okay.
Because you know what? You still got Jalen Carter and you still got Miles Murphy out there.
Those are the defensive tackles I was talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think if you're in that top 5, like you said, if those 2 quarterbacks aren't there, then you start looking at one of those 3 guys, figure out which one you think is going to complement Hutchinson the best. And like you said, stop the run and let's go. Wow.
See, I wouldn't think about kind of who's going to compliment Hutchinson. I would which one does Hutchinson work out for these guys? Because I think
that's what I'm saying. They work together, right?
But I think me personally, whichever defensive player comes out of this draft, out of the top, I think they're better than Aiden Hutchinson. That's just me. Like it's that deep of a class. I think they're going to be really solid. Will Anderson.
I like that kid out of Clemson though. That Miles Murphy out of Clemson. I like that dude. He's got a lot of good sacks. Looks like he gets a lot of pressure. That might be a really good pickup for them.
Yeah, definitely.
What a time to be alive, man. Damn. Freaking, we're talking about the damn Detroit Lions and being competitive. I never thought I'd see the day that would come around.
A lot more parity in the NFL this year. You got a lot of teams that haven't necessarily been powerhouse teams that are at least competitive now.
The Bears. But I am competitive.
Y'all got so many holes to fill. Y'all like Swiss cheese right now, man.
I'm chilling. I got my quarterback. I don't give a fuck about any other position. I'm cool. I could die like this. That's fine.
I think the Bears will be better next season. I think they're going to bring some people in over the offseason because they have a lot of salary cap room.
You're going to have to. You have all.
Hey, hold on. I want to go back to real quick where Mike said he has his quarterback. Let me ask you this. Hey, I like Justin Fields, but again, how many years are we going to look at before we start talking, or will we be talking about Justin Fields in the top 10 or even top 6?
I think a long time. Justin Fields is going to be in that conversation. I'd say at least 7 years. I would say he's going to be able to just be him. But, after that age 30, I mean, for a mobile quarterback, that's when the conversation starts to change a little bit. That's when that athletic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I would say till he's like 30 if I had to, but I don't like to put guys in a bubble because you never really know. But guys like Cam Newton, Michael Vick, mobile quarterbacks traditionally, it's definitely, you start to get to that age. You're even kind of starting to see it with Lamar. And Lamar, he's still fast as fuck. Don't get it twisted. But like Lamar isn't as fast as he was just a few years ago. And I think that's showing. Lamar Jackson right now is 25 years old, and you're kind of starting to see that. But that's because they fail to protect him and they fail to give him weapons so he can throw the ball.
Oh damn! When you're running like damn near 1,000 yards a season, and you're the quarterback. I mean, at some point, right? And then again, look. Okay, let's take Deshaun Watson, even right, for example. I mean, where's he at?
Deshaun Watson. I mean, Deshaun Watson just went 2 years without playing ball. So, I mean, he kind of fucked himself in that regard. So, I mean, it's not really like I think.
But I'm saying is even the downhill of that big contract that he just got. I mean.
No, yeah, but I think Deshaun Watson.
If you're a Browns perspective, do you think you overpaid for a guy that maybe,
no,
getting close to that like you said, that 30-year mark?
I think the reality of that is if Deshaun Watson kept his nose out of things and he would have just focused on football, he'd be a top 5 quarterback right now.
Oh, I agree with you.
That's just me. And if obviously, put a good team around him. But I mean, I think if he would have landed to the Kansas City Chiefs, you're looking at a guy who has the same resume as Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, let's remember though, Deshaun Watson, hey, he is 27 and he'll be 28 when he actually starts a first full season with the Browns.
See, the age don't bother me as much as missing 2 seasons. It's hard to sit out of anything for 2 years.
Well, all of it, come back, missing the seasons, getting older in the two. I mean, all of that kind of goes together to go against you, right?
I'll be surprised if he ever gets to where he's a top 10 quarterback in the league again.
I would say he'd be top 10 again. I don't know. I don't know if you meet that threshold of like 3 to 5.
Let me ask you a question. So, okay, speaking of all this, this kind of, the Browns aren't going anywhere. So this was kind of, Deshaun getting himself reacclimated to playing football again. They're really looking at next year for him. What is next year for the Browns? Huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What does next year look like for the Browns with Deshaun Watson?
Next year for the Browns. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fucked up. Because it's like, I like Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's a stud, but I don't think Amari Cooper being your only legitimate wide receiver weapon is really going to get you that far. And I think Jay's seen that from personal experience. I mean, the injury history that is Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is one of the best route runners in this game. And he's one of my favorite wide receivers to watch when he's healthy. But the reality of that is, when are you healthy? The best ability is availability, and he is not available 9 times out of 10. So, it's definitely something right now. It's the same thing I feel like about Keenan Allen this season. Like, Keenan Allen to me is a top 10 wide receiver in this game, but he is a hamstring injury, and I haven't seen him all season. So, and when he is out there, he doesn't look like himself. He looks like a shell of himself. So,
man, Keenan Allen been having injuries since damn near the day he came in. It's like every year he's on the injury list.
Always consistent though. Always 1,000 yards.
He's consistent, like you said, when he's on the field. But again, like you said, the best ability is availability, and he's only in spot increments with those guys.
So that's like, to me, is like, I think if we were talking about like last season Cleveland Browns, where it's Kareem Hunt, OBJ, Landry, Hooper, Njoku, and then obviously you bring in Nick Chubb and company. If you have Deshaun Watson on that squad with that defense, with that offensive line, I think they win the Super Bowl. But right now with Amari Cooper, I guess it's nice. But, and then, you look at Nick Chubb, who, how long does a running back last in today's game? Kareem Hunt wants a trade. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it for me. I don't think the Cleveland Browns are that good.
What's interesting to me is, we were talking about Trevor Lawrence. Is in year 2 under Doug Peterson.
I love Trevor Lawrence.
Hey, you know what though? But there were people when he was under Urban Meyer that were questioning, whether or not he was going to be a bust, this, that, and the other. You see him 1 year under Peterson, which is a good developmental quarterback kind of head coach. Now he's looking damn good. Now we're looking at the Jags, we're looking at him, everything differently. What do you see in year 3 for Trevor, and what do you see under year 2 under Peterson with the Jags? I mean, because I'm looking at them right now, and they're 5-8. They're just on the outside of the cusp of the 7th spot. What do you see them next year? How do you see them performing next year? Either they get in the playoffs?
Well, I do got to dip after this one, but I do love y'all. So I want to stay and talk shit because Riley Valdez, Pride from Prideful Takes, was Trevor Lawrence's biggest and strongest hater, telling me he was going to be a bust. And I've been watching Trevor since I was in high school, man. Like, Trevor and I are the same age. So kids, if you played ball, you're looking up guys your age. You're looking up the draft class that you would have been a part of, the Mike Hughes draft class of 2021. But in all seriousness, you look at it for what it is. And I've watched Trevor play for the last 10 plus years. And I've watched Justin Fields play the last 10 plus years. Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, I really didn't know much about. I knew more about Trey. But, really looking at it, and Mac, of course. Mac was a solid, national champion. But Trevor Lawrence, to me, was the overall ideal mold of what a quarterback is typically in the NFL. Your Andrew Lucks, your Peyton Mannings, guys like that. The long gun, super tall, intelligent guys that you really want on this field. And it just so happens that he's super athletic. And I love that aspect of him as well, that people really don't talk about. This kid's got wheels. Anytime I hear anybody talk about a white quarterback, I always hear them talk about how intelligent he is and how he reads a defense very well and how he's a stand-up guy. No, this guy's a fucking dog. Like, this guy has all the intangibles that you would want in a man and as an athlete. And I love Trevor Lawrence. So year 2 with Doug Peterson has been phenomenal. They're doing a lot with a little. I still stand by that. I like Travis Etienne. I always loved that. I said that they need to draft both of them coming out. You got that 1-2 punch. James Robinson's on a whole different team, ain't doing shit. So that's why I completely said that Travis Etienne was the guy to go for. And really looking at that, understanding that they're a couple pieces away from really making some noise in that division. Because I think they're nice, but I don't think a lot of guys have fully developed yet. And I also think a lot of guys need to still come in. They gave Christian Kirk $82 million for whatever reason. But it's showing now to why you give a guy like that and you overpay, because you want Trevor to prove that he's that guy. I wish Justin Fields had that guy. So, I mean, it's something right now. I think Trevor's going to be great. And I think next year is the conversation of not even just making the playoffs, but having a playoff win under your belt. But I do love y'all.
All right, man. Be good, brother. Thanks for hanging out.
Yes, sir.
All right, later, Mike.
Now we can talk shit.
Bye, Gonzo.
Hey, speaking of, young quarterbacks, Micah Parsons just came out recently as of today, and they asked him about what his thoughts were on Jalen Hurts and, being in the lead, possibly being in the lead for MVP candidate. And Micah Parsons basically said, hey, is it really Jalen Hurts or is it the team that's making Jalen Hurts look good? So he was alluding to that Patrick Mahomes really is the MVP and that, Hurts should be knocked down a few pegs from where he was at. That's Micah Parsons saying that. What's your thought process on that? Because I like Patrick Mahomes. I would probably put it. I've had Patrick Mahomes as number 1, Allen, and I think I had Hurts, and you can entertain those, but those were kind of my 3 guys. But what do you think, Gonzo?
I have Patrick Mahomes as MVP right now. I kind of agree with Parsons. How much of it is Hurts?
Right.
Because a lot of times that defense can carry that team. So it's going to be on the offensive side ball, you got a lot of weapons. So it's going to be interesting to see. And that's one of the reasons I'm not as high on the Eagles as everybody else. I'm still not completely sold that Jalen Hurts is that guy.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it. I will tell you, though, I think he definitely is part of it because you still got to be able to, facilitate the offense to be 11-1. But has he facilitated it enough to look like an MVP? I don't think I'm on that wagon. I think, I still have Mahomes as the MVP in my opinion. So take that as you want, but that's kind of where I sit on that.
I agree. Mahomes is the MVP so far. If you're giving it to a quarterback.
Man.
And actually, they like giving it to a quarterback. So.
Man, it looks like Texans Pierce has got a high ankle sprain, so he's going to at least miss 1 game. I don't think he misses 1. I think he misses several. I think that he's pretty much done. I think those high ankle sprains, those are like 3 or 4 week deals, and if I'm the Texans and that's my star running back, I think I shut him down for the year, and I just ride Burkhead and my other guy and let them get some time, man, because they're not going anywhere. They're sitting dead last. So you might as well let your other guys get some practice time, man, and let your star guy, really recuperate,
Yeah. No, I agree.
Looks like Mariota's going to have a procedure done on his knee. Do you think that had anything with him being pulled out for Ritter?
Yeah. I wasn't sold on Mariota anyway.
Yeah, I agree, man. I just want them to lay the Eagles out, man, just to make a statement. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, Dallas Cowboys, they need this Eagles game. They need this Eagles game bad because they've got to make a statement game.
Dak Prescott has quit throwing interceptions, man.
Man, well, hey, that would be step one, wouldn't it? Because the Dallas defense will do, what the Dallas defense does. But you're right. Hey, I need Dak to make better decisions with the ball, which was really weird this season because last season and the season before, Dak's always been known as a protector of the ball.
Let me ask you this.
Weird.
He's thrown 8 interceptions since he's been back from his thumb injury.
Yeah.
You think that thumb could still be bothering him some? Or do you think it's just him trying to?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, why wouldn't it, right? I mean, well, it could be thumb and it could be decision making. It could be a little bit of both. I know sometimes, man, if you can't grip that ball right, it has a potential of selling left or selling right on you and going the wrong way. So I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. I think it's a little bit of his thumb, and I also think it's a little bit of his decision making. So I think he needs to get back, like you said, he needs to get back in the group, get more reps in, and work really, hand in hand, not only with the receivers, but the quarterback coach. And like you said, try to limit some of these, these missed throws.
Yeah, he has to quit having these games with multiple interceptions, or it's really going to hurt the Cowboys down the stretch.
Oh, there's no doubt it's going to hurt them down the stretch because of that fact. I mean, they had their running games on point. They brought in T.Y., just like you said, get a little bit of veteran leadership to this young core of receivers. And, I mean, with the exception of Gallup, the rest of them are young. But, again, man, it's going to come down to Dak. Look, you're the captain. You're the driver. You're the aficionado. You're the general. You got to tighten up the shit because we're either going to live or die by you. And they need this statement game. Honestly, Dallas needs this Eagles win to be that statement game for them if they're going to have a chance, if any kind of chance, going into the playoffs. And that's really more of a confidence booster for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Oh, yeah. If you can get a win like that, that can really send you going into the playoffs in the right direction, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, he has to clean up the
not to switch coach, but I'm just saying too that that Grant Wall that died, that reporter for the Soccer World Cup that passed away over there, it was actually confirmed now that he's in the U.S. and an autopsy was done that he had an aortic aneurysm. Now that they know is what caused it, which if you know anything about that, it's basically his heart was in a sack of basically fluid, and that fluid was basically blood that was around his heart. That's why he was complaining earlier of having chest issues. So he went to the hospital. They gave him some antibiotics and cough stuff and everything. And it seemed to make it feel a little bit better. And then, of course, he goes to the game not long afterwards. And, of course, he collapses and passes away. So, it is interesting that, it is confirmed that it wasn't anything foul play. He wasn't murdered. He wasn't killed. That he had a medical condition that's why he passed away. So it's just good to get that out there. And, hey, like I said, our hearts and prayers go out to the Wall family. And I know it's going to be rough, but the guy was an amazing guy. He definitely stood up for his brother. He was a good family man. And, man, our thoughts and prayers, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was sad to hear, especially to happen in another country like that when you're out doing your job and everything.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're in a country that, frowns upon the things that you're protesting. I mean, it definitely puts a lot of speculation out there. But I'm glad. I'm thankful that now his wife has peace of mind, at least knowing what did actually happen. Number one, and number two, what an incredible thing for all the agencies from FIFA, Qatar government, the airlines, all the way down to the U.S. government to get his body from point A to point B, seamlessly. Because as a grieving widow, man, that's one thing you don't want to have to do is deal with all the craziness. And it's good that all these people came together and really took care of him, getting him back home.
No, I agree.
What do you think about this CBA deadline right before, or the CBA opt-out decision is moved to the same week as the NBA trade deadline? How crazy is that, Gonzo? And what's going to ensue from that, do you think?
So what deadline? The CBA deadline?
Yeah, their opt-out. The opt-out decision has been moved from or has been moved to the same week as the deadline for the trade deadline.
So if they opt out, does that mean we go on strike?
Says NBA and its players union have agreed to extend the deadline to give notice of plans to opt out of the collective bargaining agreement on February 8th. The sides announced in a joint statement Wednesday. It doesn't really say too much. I would imagine if they don't get it resolved, that it could have an issue on the season.
If they opt out, then if they don't come to agreement on a new collective bargaining, then there could be a strike. Is the way I would take it.
Yeah, it says the 7-year CBA would expire after the 2023-24 season, but if either side exercises the opt-out, the agreement would end June 30th, putting the NBA at risk of a possible work stoppage. So it could be that if they don't get this CBA worked out and they opt out before the trade deadline, now we're looking at a work stoppage, which definitely would affect this season.
I think I don't think that's a big deal that they moved it back, but I do think there's a good chance that one of the sides opt out of that option and that they go into a big argument over the collective bargaining agreement. And I would not be surprised if there is no a strike. And I say that because I think these owners are going to try to get some of the power back.
Yeah,
Players going to a team, signing a big contract, and then doing whatever they can to try to force a trade and get out. I think the owners are going to want some changes made. So I could see maybe this end up going to a strike. Because it wouldn't surprise me if the owners opt out of the agreement.
So the issue at hand that was told to ESPN is the NBA is pursuing the implementation of an upper spending limit that would replace the luxury tax with a hard limit that teams could not exceed to pay salaries. The league's efforts is in response to large market contenders like the Warriors, the Nets, and the Clippers running up massive payrolls and luxury tax penalties, according to Wojnarowski of ESPN. So now they're looking at saying, hey, look, guys, what we want to do is instead of giving you a luxury tax that you just pay if you go over the cap,
a hard salary.
Now they're going to give you a hard cap. Oh, my God. There's going to be some issues now because now you're messing with people's money, players' money. And players don't like it when you mess with their money. Money, 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 money. Yeah, don't mess with my money, Bubba.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't end up seeing a strike in the NBA. I really wouldn't, because I think the owners are fed up with some of the stuff that is going on with these contracts. And of course, the players.
So there's a possibility that this season we're currently in could be stopped in February.
No.
Am I right?
No, they would vote in February, but it said it would end on June 30th. So this season would be all right. It'd be next season.
Oh, but it would be the 23-24 season that season would be affected. Oh, yeah. Well, hey, All I can tell you is if you're the Lakers, it doesn't really matter.
You better enjoy your NBA this year.
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
You might not have much next year. You never know.
Damn, what a time to be alive, man. Hey, listen, and don't be surprised, like you said. Don't be surprised if we go into a strike. And maybe it's like baseball where, they try, maybe it goes into a little bit of the season. I hope it doesn't go in any of the season, but
speaking of NBA, what do you think about them changing the awards? Like made the MVP award?
I like it. I do. I like it. No, because look, man, we all know the greatest player in basketball is damn. Look, if you're not going to give it to Bill Russell or have Bill Russell as the MVP, then you got to have Michael Jordan. Either one of those.
Defensive Player of the Year is Hakeem Olajuwon.
Say it with your chest.
I knew you were going like that one.
Hey, but I need you to say it with your chest.
Hakeem.
Thank you. That's all I asked. Just give me a little chest bump in there. No, hey, if you look at Hakeem, though, man, he was incredibly gifted on the defensive side of the ball. The one thing that really, really, really stuck out at me is Shaq wasn't in there. As dominant of a center as Shaq was and how he changed the game and the whole Shaka, Hack-a-Shaq and all that. Yep. I'm surprised there wasn't an award. I don't know what you'd name after him, but there's got to be. I would think there would have been an award. And I'm really surprised that there wasn't a Kobe Bryant award, given that, the way he passed away.
They already have an award that they give out.
That's the MVP, right? The MVP, the
MVP of the All-Star game.
Yes. Okay, I apologize. You're right. I forgot about that. So they do have a Kobe Bryant, and it should. That's right, because Bill Russell, I think, has it for the East, and Kobe Bryant has it for the West. Am I correct on that?
I think so.
I think that's why. Okay, and hey, again, have you seen the award? The award is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I thought the award looked pretty cool.
It looks like a vase, and then it's got the dude inside the vase, like with whatever kind of pose he's doing. Oh man, it's nice. I would like, if I was going to win an award, I would want to win that kind of award. It looks really nice on your mantle, nice and elegant. Man, it's beautiful, man. No, I like it. I think it keeps the game relevant. I think there's more relevancy in it. Was that?
I'm surprised there hasn't been a bunch of people complaining that they made it the Michael Jordan award, not LeBron James.
Man, just give it time. Give it time. Hey, Facebook can only handle so much at one time. Let me tell you, that might be one of those things where, hey, we let out a little at a time. Man, but I honestly, we'll be talking about that tomorrow about the awards and things like that, because they really do look nice. But man.
Yeah, I'm surprised. But you're probably right. We'll be getting it. Larry Bird was the man, number 33. Hey, I was a big Larry Bird fan.
Hey, we all were big Larry Bird fans. I was too. Hey, I still am. I don't know what. I still am a Larry Bird fan. For what that guy did for the game and the way he shot that three ball was just incredible. And he was always all over the floor. He was like that little gnat. You couldn't get rid of the gnat, and that's how Larry Bird was. Ugliest looking dude I've ever seen in my life. But man, he could play basketball. I'm right. Larry Bird was an ugly looking dude, man. Hey. Let's be honest. If it wasn't for basketball, do you think he'd be pulling women? Probably not. He'd probably be a local sanitation worker out there picking up the garbage trucks. I'm going to hell.
That dude could ball. Oh, man, he could ball. A lot of people thought it. A lot of people that didn't get to see him play think, oh, he was just a three-point shooter. No, he was a hell of a
he had more than that.
He was a hell of a three-point shooter. He could play.
Yeah. Well, he was a general. He was a general on the court. Everybody knows that.
And he was one of the biggest shit talkers.
Oh, man. Look, when you look like that, you got to be a shit talker. And I'll be honest with you. Hey, if I could play basketball at the skill set in which Bird could play basketball, I'd be talking mad shit too. I mean, come on. If I can back it up, I'm going to talk it.
That's true. Why not?
Man, you see, so since we're in basketball mode, Draymond, one of the fans at the game last night, threatened his life. And so he told the referees and they wound up kicking the guy out of the game. How are you going to get courtside seats and then threaten somebody's life? That's like a waste of losing your money.
Yeah,
what are these people thinking?
That don't make no sense.
Let me spend thousands of dollars to get a courtside seat, and then let me say something stupid. It makes absolutely no sense at all. Hell, just give me your money. I'll go enjoy the game, and I'll send you videos of it. Yeah,
I pretty much agree with you, Billy.
Hey, I will say this in defense of LeBron, though, man. I don't like him as a basketball player. It is what it is. But on the personal side, man, hey, you got to admit that guy's done a lot for the world, man. And that school for the lesser.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of great philanthropy. I like LeBron as the businessman. I just don't, and the philanthropist. I just don't like LeBron as a basketball player. It's just me, though.
I agree. But I'll be honest, I wasn't a fan of Michael Jordan when he was playing.
Hey, hush your mouth.
Let me finish. But I knew how good he was. The reason I wasn't a fan of Michael Jordan was because I'm a big Indiana Pacer fan and Reggie Miller fan.
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, I feel you.
Jordan kept Reggie from getting a ring.
Jordan kept a lot of people from getting a ring, okay? Hell, Stockton should have had 2 or 3 rings by now.
And that's why I've always said, and that's one of my reasons I say he's the greatest. If you look at LeBron, other guys won titles when LeBron was in his prime. When Jordan was in his prime, nobody else won titles.
No.
He kept people from getting titles.
I will say, though, that there was that one series with the Jazz where it went down to Game 7 and he hit that last buzzer beater and got the win. I mean, that was probably the closest anybody ever got to beating MJ in the playoffs. And I know the Jazz went home just heartbroken over that, man. I would have been heartbroken over that. Real quick, man. So where do you see the NBA going in terms of the next 10 years? Do you see them putting a lot more rules in place, or do you think it's going to stay pretty much the way it is now? Because I see baseball putting rules in. I've seen football putting a lot more rules in. The NBA did put some rules in, but it seems like they've kind of slowed off of that for a while, and we've kind of been stagnant with the way we play basketball. Do you see that ever changing, or when do you think it's going to change?
I don't think it's going to change. I mean, I think it might change some, but what rules can they really change now?
You'd be surprised. Those dudes could come up with all kinds of crazy stuff, man.
They need to change the flagrant foul rule, because now you get called for a flagrant foul if you fucking reach out and just tap the guy on the nose. You get called for a fucking
flagrant foul. I think if they do something with the flagrant fouls, which I can see, I'm glad you said that, because I think they could do something with the flagrant, because you got what, flagrant 1, flagrant 2, and then I think where the changes could come into play is, maybe how sensitive do we make the flagrant 1 or flagrant 2? They could start looking more at the criteria, which again is where I think that's
the other thing I think they need to look into is these reviews. The reviews take too long in the NBA. I don't understand why they take so long in the NBA. It seems like if there's a team challenges a call, or if they have to review an out of bounds play, it seems like it takes freaking 10 minutes. And it shouldn't take as long as it does. Their replay process is to me is just too slow. I think some changes could be made to that, because that messes up the rhythm of the game.
Oh, it does.
A team could be on a run, a 15-0 scoring run, then a call get challenged, and then you get a 10-minute break, and that can spoil that team's momentum and kind of let the other team get some momentum. So I think that was something that they should look into.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Because whenever the Lakers play, Frankie always, he'll blow up the chat 20 ways from Sunday. Him and the other dudes. It looked like the Lakers were going to get the win last night over the Celtics, and of course, the Celtics did come back and take that win. Now the Celtics the Lakers are right at 11-16, and I think they're sitting in the 13th spot, 12 or 13th spot. Number one, they have gotten better. I think we all realize that the Lakers have gotten better. But like I said to, I think it might have been Frankie, I said, you gotten better, but you still aren't where you need to be in terms of being competitive in competitive basketball. What do you think the Lakers do now at this point? I mean, have they done everything they can to get the most out of this lineup? And if so, do they start looking to try to make more trades? Do they try to contact the Heat, who have already come out and said, hey, we're willing to trade Kyle Lowry to the right destination for the right assets, I guess, in return? What do you do if you're the Lakers? Is it time to, call this one done because we've done all that they can and they still can't get into the playoffs?
I don't think there's a whole lot they can do because they can't get rid of Westbrook and get what they want for him. But some people have to give Westbrook some credit as well. He's been playing pretty good this season. He's actually embraced his role coming off the bench. He hasn't been a problem. So I don't think it's all been Westbrook at all. They don't have enough shooters on that team, and I just don't know with the Heat, do they have enough assets that the Heat want for Kyle Lowry? I mean, I just don't know. They don't have picks to trade. They don't have a whole lot of assets right now.
Right.
So I think they're pretty much stuck till next season when they can try to move off that big Westbrook contract. I still think they need to think about shopping LeBron and moving on from LeBron. I think them moving on from LeBron and maybe even Anthony Davis is going to be their quickest way to try to get back to relevancy because they're going to be in a rebuild mode. Whether it's next season or the year after, because LeBron ain't going to be there too much longer, for one. And with the way they are, especially just think if a salary cap comes into play.
Oh Lord, yeah, and I think that's where we're going to see it. I like what your dad was saying. Maybe they should move the 3-point line back again. I'm okay with that, but how far do you move it back? 1 foot, 2 foot? I mean.
I think it used to be like 2 or 3 foot farther back than what it is now at one time.
I believe. God, I'd have to go back and do some research on that to give it an actual answer.
I know it was back a little bit farther, but I can't remember how far it was.
But I would, with the frequency of them hitting the 3-point line and the way that they're hitting 2-pointers damn near, yeah, I would be okay with them moving it back. I think then that would, because if they do that, then you're almost forcing the 2-point jump shot to come back into play. You know what I'm saying? And then you're basically bringing back old school basketball almost in a sense. Now you're looking at post-ups. Now you're getting back to the old Olajuwon days and Shaq days, where the ball went down low first, and then if you did, you would kick it back out for a jump shot or whatever, Vice, just going straight 3-pointer or just going straight to the bucket, on isolation plays or whatever.
No, I agree.
I was trying to find out. He was asking. I think it was Billy was asking about who you think the dirtiest player in the NBA is, and obviously, yeah, it's still kind of my opinion, Bill Laimbeer, because of about the way basketball was played back then. I don't know if you can't really compare anybody these days now because the rules have changed so much that I don't know what are you going to consider dirty? The way they talk, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Laimbeer would straight punch your ass.
Oh, yeah. Laimbeer didn't care. Hey, he was straight corn-fed. He didn't care. He definitely did not care.
No,
maybe Patrick Beverly can kind of get ugly sometimes or get dirty sometimes.
Draymond Green. We've seen him knock somebody out.
Draymond.
Even though it was a teammate.
Oh, Jesus, man. Hey, and then you can also talk about Dwight Howard back when the elbow thing. Remember when nobody wanted to get around him because they were scared they were going to get an elbow to the face?
Yep, I remember. Let me ask you this: what is wrong? What do you think is wrong with the Warriors? They're 14-14. They actually have the same record as my Indiana Pacers, who have actually been a little bit of a surprise team so far. We're playing pretty well, but the Warriors, I thought they would be a better team this year than last year. Do you think they're just getting off to a slow start, or do you think it's time to start worrying about the Warriors? They can't. They look good at home.
I don't know if I worry about them just yet, but I would think, as my wife says, I'm not worried, but I am concerned. I would say concerned is a good word to use.
I'm not worried, but I am concerned.
But I am concerned. And when you say you're concerned, that basically means you're 2 steps away from worry. So yeah, I would say
wait a minute. 2 steps from worry. So what's in between concerned and worry? Oh shit.
I don't know. Usually we get between concern and worry, it's a long silence. and then the silence is then followed up by a freak out section. So I don't know, man. Hey, and that's when you say first one to the telephone, the other one's going to jail. No. Hey, it's true, man. Hey, look, if you don't know that saying, you better get used to it. Especially if you plan on getting married or having a girlfriend, just remember, man, first one to the telephone, first one. And nowadays you got cell phones, so I mean, I guess it's the first one to speed dial. Or the first one to Siri. However you want to look at it nowadays, man. I think with the Warriors, though, honestly, I think it's just them trying to get back into a groove, trying to get into their momentum. I think it still lies. The problem with them lies around Wiseman and Draymond Green, and what to do about that low post or down low around the rim protection in terms of that. And I think it still kind of resolves a little around Klay Thompson and him finding his stroke again from that 3-point line. So I'm looking at Klay probably is still one issue, and I'm looking at Draymond and Wiseman, and how is that going to work out? So for me, it's still them trying to figure out that rotation, and then honestly, them just getting their confidence back, getting their swag back, getting that Golden State swag, and they haven't had that swag in a hot minute.
Yeah, they got to play better. They got to get better on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh, they're definitely going to get better on the deep. And that's where I'm saying, that's where I think Green, Wiseman, Looney, hey, these guys need to get down there and start handling their business. Especially if Draymond wants all this damn money. Come on, Dre. How you gonna want me to pay you Jordan Poole kind of money, and yet you're giving me, basically less than nothing on the low post side of life.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back, and I guess even if you want to look at that, well, I guess so. Yeah, it was the Bucks and Warriors game I was thinking of. When you look at Golden State Warriors and you look at their rebounds, Draymond's giving you what, 6? Looney's giving you 8. I mean, I don't get that, man. And then you're playing Kuminga's your best guy, at 19 points, and he's doing 19 points. Is it time to move Kuminga off the bench and into the rotation at the power forward spot and start bringing Green off the bench, until he can start producing better? He only gave you 2 points, 7 assists, and 6 boards. I mean, and that's in what, 23 minutes of play?
They need Green to be in double digits rebounds. He needs to have at least 10 rebounds a game.
I mean, I don't get that. How are they not getting those kinds of numbers? Now I see Wiseman's not in there, so I don't know if he's hurt or what, but he did not play in that game. But
yeah, I don't think he might not play. I know, like tonight, Klay Thompson's out. I'm trying to think. I think there was somebody else was out too. Oh, Andrew Wiggins is out as well.
I'm just saying, look, man, when you're putting up 37 rebounds and Milwaukee's putting up 55 rebounds, that just kind of tells you where your second chance points are coming from.
Yeah. And Steph Curry's been trying to do everything he can to carry that team. But somebody
sooner or later, Steph Curry's going to wind up on the injury report because his body's going to break down because he ain't no spring chicken. Steph been in the game for a little bit now. He in his 30s. He ain't no spring chicken.
No, you're right. All right, man. Well, I got to get ready to take off.
Yeah, I think we're at about that time to close her on down. Yeah, he said the 3-point line was 23 feet, and now, so it's 1 foot. So maybe you put the 3-point line back 1 to 2 feet.
I take it back. I take it back 2 feet to at least like 24.
Yeah, that's what I would do, because I think you got to make it somewhat competitive and not the normal.
And actually, if you want to, go to 25. Okay.
I just think it needs to go back to the way it used to be, where if you hit the 3-pointer, it was the 3-pointer. Now you hit a 3-pointer, it's like hitting a 2. Like we don't even care. Just take
away the 3-point line.
Yeah, I mean, well, and if you put it back, like I said, if you put it back to 25, then it's going to force I think it forces more mid-range jump shots.
Yeah.
And I think that's where
Sure.
guys like DeRozan will really, really become, valuable.
Yep.
Well, all right. Hey. It's too early for that now.
I know. Way too early for that. But all right, we're going to get out of here for today. We will see you guys tomorrow. Justice for Mandy Rose. We'll talk about that at a different time. And Dad said he'd watch the NBA again if it got more like real basketball.
Yeah, bring back the mid-range jump shot and let's go.
But we appreciate everybody joining us today. This has been the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern with another episode of the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. Jay, you have anything before we get out of here?
No, man. Hey, just another day in the world, man. Everybody get ready for that Thursday football, man. Hey, it's going to be exciting. Lots and lots of things are on the line to get back into that number 7 playoff spot. Lots of things are going to be happening over the weekend. So, man, let's just brace ourselves from some good football. And again, man, hey, don't forget, me, Gonzo, and Logan will be on tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard on Unscripted. Check us out on Twitter, Unscripted Guys, all one word, and TikTok, Unscripted Sports, all one word. And yeah, man, look forward to seeing you guys.
And I'll be back here about 3:30 with Easy Money, a sports betting show. So come join me and my dad for that. We appreciate everybody watching. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room, at the All Sports All Plays, at Unscripted. We'd all greatly appreciate it. Like and follow on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. You can find all of us at all the social media platforms. But we appreciate everybody's support, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.